Cebu Pacific. Kung Cebu Pacific po kay color. Yung darating.
Passenger briefing card found in your seat. Unauthorized feeding of pizza is not allowed. And to accommodate all Hentai factors, we would like to request everyone
Alas Grace nga. Mga turista sa Iloilo. Bala. Old Municipal Hall.
Wala siya.
What photos?
Boss? Okay na. Sure.
Mo gyud pong plastada.
Vlog, ha?
Student ka na, ano?
High school pa.
Hindi, ang student mo nga nag-join sa, ano? Nag-join sa TK.
Si Marshall.
Oo, sa ano to? Ay, mapaindi, hindi ito kaya.
Uy, kinancel ko yung ano ha, yung kinancel ko yun para sa iyo.
Wait, taga Cebu, kabalo ka, wait na dayon si JB ha.
Oh.
Maliwala kang ila sa akin niya.
Ilis-ilis.
Kasi pang lalaki.
Pinabaligyan ni Sai.
Ang lalaki ni?
Pinabaligyan.
Exhibit lang.
Pinabaligyan. Naira. Pinabaligyan.
Exhibit lang. Pang lalaki.
Di bang lalaki, Sai?
Ang girl na lang. At ano, na? Ayan, pag guys, kapag guys.
Pare pang lalaki. Laganin ni Sayo.
Kaya kung sa akin, ito, ano ba? Sila?
How government operates and how we should conduct ourselves working with the through. That's very important. And coming in from you, the kids should learn.
Indigenous Peoples Month this October. At the same time, this is also our Museums and Galleries Month this October. Lucky to have with us this special exhibit that we call Sri Vishaya's Intersections of Indigenous, Rural,
Again, you bring sense of pride to a Kabistan. So let's give a round of applause to Biwi. Sri Visaya, pamangkot ko gani si Che kanong Sri Visaya, so hindi pa ko masyado din familiar. And of course, if you're not an artist, it may be spearheaded by the Green Papaya Art Project.
Sri Vishaya's exhibition. And maybe invite them for what's after tonight.
Salamat kay Che. Mayong gabi sa akong mga kasimanwada. The Honorable Mayor Ronnie, salamat kay Madamo, Councilor Gary Putato, kita ta kasi bata ko pa. Board member ka ng ili. City and provincial government officials, mga kauturan, mga panay bukidnon, para sa susunod. Distinguished guests, students, friends, and co-cultural workers. Mayong gabi sa tanan. Dolce & Gabbana, Zara, Gucci, Isabel Marant, Jean Paul Gaultier, Donna Karan. These are just some of the most popular brands, global brands, accused of cultural appropriation. International fashion brands have in one way or another exploited the traditional patterns of symbols of the Navajo Nation, the Maasai of East Africa, the Northern Cheyenne of North America, and all other indigenous cultures in Mexico, Brazil, Peru, India, and the Philippines. These are brands which are at the forefront of the global fashion industry that earns no less than 1.5 billion annually. They know that these indigenous peoples represent and they fully understand the value of their culture. And yet, many of our own people who we have encountered in the course of our research for this project still consider the Panay Bukidnon primitive and uncivilized. As if the rest of the world has yet to discover them and they have yet to come out from the forest. This is farthest from the truth. The Sri Visayas project hopes to correct this misinformation or lack of knowledge and offers venues like the exhibition and the conference tomorrow to talk about and learn about the Panay Bukidnon and their culture. The exhibition Moving the Mountains Closer to the Seas and the conference Panay Bukidnon Keeping the Subidanon Alive are part of the initial outputs of our research and fieldwork the team undertook since this project was launched in the hinterlands of Panay Island early this year. This project is a work in progress. Our efforts are but small steps in building respect and appreciation of the Panay Bukidnon. And if I may add, this is not a painting exhibition. The works are either mixed media or new media, forms that I am sure not quite familiar to most of us here. Although these works are made by individual artists, they are interrelated to reinforce each other's narrative. So please view the exhibition as one big installation and not as individual pieces competing with one another, as this approach may help you understand the whole context. Why Sri Visayas? Our good mayor was asking earlier. We would like to posit that the idea that we all come from Sri Vijaya, the once powerful kingdom that dominated most of Southeast Asia. Settlers from the collapsing Hindu-Buddhist Sri Vijaya Empire, led by Dato Puti, settled in the island of Panay. This means we are all of the same origin. There is no us and them. Tanan kita Panay Bukidnon. Asserting this claim is already a victory, for indeed the meaning of the word Vijaya, which is Sanskrit, is victory. We are happy that this modest endeavor has gained support of the provincial government of Capiz and the Provincial Tourism Cultural Affairs, the Jerry Rojas Training and Convention Center, the Panublion Museum, thanks to Che, and also Brian Argos of the Tourism Office of the City, and last but not the least, the City of Rojas under the dynamic leadership of our good Mayor Ronnie. Damogid niya salamat. On behalf of Green Pabaya and my team, Libby Limoso of Iloilo and Olive Gloria of Bacolod, we would like to thank all the artists who participated in this project. And we have Regina Villanueva, she's inside. Lisa Diaz, she's also inside, preparing for a performance. Naitar Singh Caballero, Fritz Yangko. They're all members, by the way, of Panay Bukidnon in Garangan. And the rest of the artists who worked with us throughout this project since last year of 2021. So I would like to call them out: Margot Blas of Iloilo, Peter James Fontinalgo, which is our own. He comes from the
Ate, uno raw nga na senior ma, kaako indun kaming may ipangambay ada, pang-arit-arit at di pa'y tapos, tuoy at di tapos, Lukmayo ano nawa kaming tutan ngaya salop na gunturok ikaw hunti raw inurihi mong inuubo bago mong binalad ban pagkarakam alawon dun kaming buligi at kapang ta Dili ikaw malay sandigan, ikaw lay sa ilayan kung ano'y ihukapan wa maribok sa dinon ang Diyos kakalibutan harangi talapay dato dapig-dapig
Ga-angle na yan. Pagtad-tad, kini ka baboy.
Kaya pang lupi lang na yun.
Ganda. Gamit. What? Oh, oh.
Dito ka na yung kasi may ari ng mamay na. Active participation.
Oo nga, mukha nga. Napagkamalan niya eh.
Let's document this.
Yes. Para makakuha ka.
Bukaw yun.
Okay.
Oo. Hemp fabric.
Sa Nepal ka na.
Ihemplo.
Collaborative, engaged research work. I think that's well, just maybe for them, but you know, and probably it might be in the future. Kasi parang siyang loving but it's better if we collaborate because there will be no who can sell it for a higher price from a royal blood, exchange marriage, and you know, let's say giving back something is real for them. It was the game of because you know they invested on the dragons, they invested.
Ano pa ito? Ito ba next year pa daw? Ay, nanay kasi sa wayan mo si Jose.
Uli ka na, ikadwa ko, sir.
Maging taong bata si GS na kung 2010 lang hanggang dito guro.
Opo lang
Sino kung bata mo?
Si Magayon.
Grabe nga rin, magayon ba?
Man ano?
Pero nanay lang yun.
Magayon.
Ano kay
Si
balaan
mama
mo?
ka na, sir.
Daw mo lumulutod lang kami tatlo mo.
Magayon.
Hindi makita kami. Daw juk-jukanay lang bala. Ako ka nang dananay nandap.
Manaras ko mas inday, sir. Ang kabata dyan.
Amo ni ang agot.
Ano, agot sa din sa
Asa sa living subang kay una gini kang tutukin.
Si Sir Lev, ito na ang subang kaya mo rin nag-ano kang...
Kaya ano tayo mga mga
Adapted naman eh.
Sa bintana.
Adapted naman eh.
Hindi mo.
Pati ginawa na, durungan.
Mamala sir. Wow, ilang bila kay Sir Levi, ida pasugidahan na bila ko. Ano inda, masugidahan ako ka karo. Nakante. Tiga-tig-ek na kapo sir, sige practice na bro. Bulas mo sumo inis niya tutinlan mo.
Wired.
Matiim lang na ha? Pero agad si Mama Agos, kinyo kalipanyan ha?
Sirakan pa, malipat na kan?
Kakomposo.
Daw ka pang abi-abi.
Puso. Sino gitara?
Ako man, di gitara. Nablot ang apo ko. Daw basag law garing nga plaka.
Voice lang.
Ay namin kita na na, kung magsugudanan tayo. No, nakaka pa ng chance namin ko lang.
Nag-drive na.
Iwa, idol. Gets you?
Testing dapat recording din.
Ay, giti, antik, anong professional bala?
Ang ini, kaya ka na
Daog mo pa ang maestro, bisa no read, no write ka pa, kaysa kinaaram, perde mo sanda. Ay, sus.
Kakadlaw ginawa ka pa sa taton.
O sa English,
Pati mo lang yun.
o sa English, innocent kita, I know how to speak English. You know how to speak English, mana ni ano?
May pirang bato ka.
Ay, di, parehas
Kita
lang
mo
ito.
kina. Thank you, si Sir.
Abaw, salamat.
But it's young white. Young like turkey.
Ah. Okay, shorty na ako. Ano din?
Compared with Saudi is great. So everybody, come and then check the price and this is crazy. And then come to festival feeling so cheap. And then still chill. Very relaxed.
I think we should go to Cebu. That's what we
Buy
need.
property.
Buy a piece of land, create a bamboo house, just like that house in the museum, just a box.
Peru, India, and the Philippines. These brands, which are at the forefront of the global fashion industry, that earns no less than $1.5 billion annually, know what these indigenous peoples represent and fully understand the value of their culture. And yet, many of our own people who we have encountered in the course of our research for this project consider the Panay Bukidnon as uncivilized and primitive. I refrained to mention this last night, but for purposes of our documentation, I will say that one government official was even heard saying that indigenous culture is just saw-sawat mo lang na. As if the rest of the world has yet to discover them and they have yet to come out from the forest. Of course, we all know that this is farthest from the truth. The Sri Visayas Project hopes to somehow correct this misinformation or lack of knowledge and offers venues like the exhibition at the Panopticon Museum last night and the conference today to talk about and learn about the Panay Bukidnon and their culture. The exhibition Moving the Mountains Closer to the Seas and conference Panay Bukidnon, Keeping this Sugidan Alive are part of the initial outputs from the research and fieldwork our team undertook since early this year in the hinterlands of Iloilo, Capiz, Aklan, and Antique. This is a work in progress. Our efforts are but small steps in building respect and appreciation for the Panay Bukidnon. I mentioned this last night, but we're here in the conference, but I might as well mention it again. If you happen to go to to the exhibition later in the day or tomorrow. What we have at the Panuglion Museum is not a painting exhibition. The works are either mixed media or new media, forms that I am sure not quite familiar to most of us here, and I was talking to the Roma City community, and of course to our guests. Although these works are by individual artists, they are all interrelated and they are meant to reinforce each other's narrative. So please view the exhibition as one big installation and not as individual pieces competing with one another, as this approach will help you understand the whole context. Why Sri Visayas? We harbor the idea that we all come from Srivijaya, the once powerful kingdom that dominated most of Southeast Asia. Settlers from the collapsing Hindu-Buddhist Srivijaya Empire, led by Dato Puti, settled in the island of Panay and surrounding islands. Of course, we have to find something that we can put Panay in focus. This means that we are all of the same origin. There is no us and them. Tanan kita, Panay Bukidnon. Asserting this claim is already a victory, for indeed the meaning of the word Vijaya, which is Sanskrit, is victory. On behalf of Green Papaya Art Projects and the Sri Visayas Project Management Team, which includes Libby Limoso from Iloilo, who has been working with us since Viva Expo in 2018. Olive Gloria from Bacolod was also involved with Viva Expo in 2018. Likewise, Mark Omega from Rojas has also been involved with Viva Expo in 2018. And I would like to thank everyone who are present here tonight. I also would like to express our gratitude to Professor Felipe Hocano Jr., who for some urgent reasons cannot join us today, but will be delivering his keynote address via video. And I would like to thank those who are with us today. Again, Dr. Alicia Magos, Robert Ramirez, Paul Taton, Ruel Pamier, and our moderator, Rita Estrada. Last but not the least, again and again and again, thank you to Ali Villaros, who is not around, the Executive Director of the Jerry Rojas Training and Convention Center and the Jerry Rojas Foundation for accommodating us in this beautiful place. Madam Mupik salamat. So, a picture of the interior of the house. There's no rooms, but just one big space. And in Bacau, we learned about that animal. How do I pronounce it in Aklan? Animal then, animal, but we spell it like that. So this is a representation of the guardians of the house that protects them from being sick, or it is being nilalagay siya dun sa kitchen area so that nobody would touch it, especially outsiders. Because if we touch it, they would get sick. So there are versions of this also in
actually achieve more than that because we were able to gather some data like the oral literature from the elders, the Biyahe, Ambahan, and most of the traditions there, like weaving. And so weaving is one of the primary.
The team for this project for Libby, and I was actually with either during the ride, the second visit, the 65th anniversary. My first encounter actually at Kalangan was earlier in June. It was the first week. I was with Libby Limoso and Christian. My interest was actually mainly on bamboo instruments, and we actually learned we learned a lot of during that experience. The process on learning these instruments were not really easy because some of these instruments were also difficult to find, and we actually did interview some of the personalities. Some of the personalities in Garangan. I actually learned quite a lot from.
Ano ang deber mo? What is your business in saying you are an IP? Kung ikaw mismo nang yata. Kung ikaw mismo, di ka balo sa imo nga kultura nga iya sa IP. Dapat ano ang mamaster mo. Okay, wala ko kumakain sa rosa.
From our studying the theories of the West or the lens of a person coming from the mountainside without even knowing if he is an IP or not? I think that's the basic question that you should also answer and think about.
Difficult question. I know being fieldwork, what your anthropological training is 5 hours as well.
Isa lang sa sentence. Ano oras sila manasot ang bukid? Kung magamot ang bagyo, paano rin na andaman ang naingatan ng andang lugar? Ang balaynan na nipa, may tarawis sa punta, may tarawis, hindi na direksyon. Para pag-abot ka bagyo, kung hindi na po sa mga hangin, kag para niya magtabag ang kogon, anong na mo na dahil, mga to, pati kogon man lang. Kinabitayan na niya ka rusong.
That's why I'm asking.
Yes, rusong. Oh, tiginambal lang yung kasalan, tinabay masig lang nalibutan na ron.
Ako na, hindi na pamangkot ko because I too am a graduate of community development, no? Rural development management. Kung baga, kada mo man sa naka-engage ko, mga researchers, nagkanto dito sa bukid, kay tudluan ang tao sa bukid of cultural resiliency. When ay hindi mo tanda matudluan, they are better at it because they live their lives doing that since tila na pagkamata pa lang nila sa kalibutan. So hindi mo sila yung matudluan, they have the kurog din na, kita may ara, kita wala kita ya. So, when we do research, we also view that from their perspective. Kinaya na-insist, kinaya na pwede, because our religion says, our current law says, isa lang asawa. Ilaya na bugtawan niya, puno, ila asawa, may kaplik, tanda. Is it wrong for you to say that to them? No. So, I think you nakita niyo ang kurot na during typhoon, kaya sila na sa tuta. So, pagkakita na nila na may sound na sa insects and birds. Kapag nila may bagyo, they will leave their house and bring with them their food, their essentials, para makasurvive, manupanaog to sila sa ilang kurog kag managop, and palipasok ng bagyo. So, these are, wala bala. And of course, you also have to realize, ako pagitna, because as Panay Bukidnots, no, I think one thing also that I got from a conference that I went to yesterday, because there are just a lot of IPs there also from other areas. One researcher was saying that ang nabilin na lang hunters and gatherers diri sa aton sa Visayas, ang Angkis, and of course, our Panay Bukidnon and Central Panay. Basically, ay habag tuod ina, because why? Habag ko, hindi niyo makita ang culinary na Panay Bukidnon. Acquired ang sa Lola, kaya makita niyo mga manok, wala na yan, pagka-introduce na yan, mga ano. Pero they are hunters and gatherers, saka ka sa bukid, because they cook with what is available. Kung anong na-gather nila, amo na wala sa basic recipe.
Wala sa prescribed recipe. So kung ano na, amo lang na iya. So that's why na may isang educator, may isang cultural worker, may matagalak sa ngayon. Dahil nakita ko marami na kataan. So magandang maintindihan nila. Una-una, siguro sinabi ni Ma'am Kanina, lente, no? It's important na yung ethical considerations, no? Ano bang gamit ang perspective ng dala-dala nito? Ethical considerations as in permiso. Idagdag lang po natin dito, ito po yung perspective kung talagang dala-dala, no? Lagi natin pinag-uusapan nowadays, rights. So, kung ano pong resulta nito o product nito research na mo, ano po ba ang kasunduan nito in terms of sino po ba ang custodian ng resulta, ng product, ano po ang agreement ninyo, who owns the rights, tapos anong extent. Siguro, sabihin natin dahil sa tagal doon ng larangan ito, nag-umpisa ako bilang cultural worker in research na ako, umakit ako sa bundok, ako ay Tagalog, naluloko po ako sa field, and hindi ko kaya yung network nila. So anyway, ang gusto ko pong sabihin, sa dinabi-nabi ng research na ito, what is this for? Maximum and minimum. Hindi po ako humingi ng kasagutan para sa ating mga research, pero gusto ko po yan yung maintindihan ng kabataan. Ito po ay ginagawa dahil hindi gusto natin. Merong pinagagalingan at merong kalunan.
Salamat.
Kapitaman, punta kayo na sa tika o may sa organization, no? May right makita. Kasi inimuhan ng libro mo. After getting the information, naging mo ka libro, ang tuyo natin sa pag-iwas ng libro is, para na makilala sila, kaya kung tanda lang din. Yung darabay, karang nira sa nagkamot, tanong labot, naman ang libro nila kasi nakakaon naman, kanutan, nag-mirable, nag-aharap kami o nag-face. Okay, simple mo lang yung mga sa wala ang problema nila, ramon sila doon na seryoso na problema, may normal na problema. Kapag natin eh, durong libro, durong ano, kung di nga na no, may rival pa, may isa-isa pa. Akin, pasalamat ka lang kay mata ko lang ang kada tuig-tuig ng taas. Ang ako nga, di para isa lang dosena.
Jay. Thank you. I think we're talking about perspectives here. And me also, as someone in the academy and also teaching in the fine arts program and doing field work, I think what is very important, particularly in this kind of research, is the perspective of artists and art making. Perhaps we also have to take into consideration what our colleagues were sharing to the group, but what is important really is to see the output of these researchers vis-a-vis their artworks in the exhibition, because that will give us that particular purpose of the research, that perhaps there's a particular power of art that can negotiate the problems of IPs. We don't really have, because the problem with us artists doing interdisciplinary work is that we don't have that training. No, wala nang tinuturo sa atin anthropological, ethnographic processes, doing research sa mga field. But we are doing it now because we believe that art should be interdisciplinary and art should immerse into these communities. And that I think is the beauty of this project. And to see your works sa exhibition and the research process coming up with the works in the exhibition is what is very important to be discussed here. And kasi it is a challenge really for many of us artists. It's very difficult to answer your questions actually. No? Sino ba ang mga artists dito na we're trained to do that? But it is also important to take note, no, of what they shared, because they've been through the mountains many years, and they've done excursions with the communities several times. Tayo, bago pa tayo sa ganito, art making, art is always Western. We were taught to copy the masters. And now we are trying to make art local, make art as ours. And so, that's that important perspective that you guys should share in this conference. the perspective of artists vis-a-vis the problems of ITs.
Damo kay salamat dira. Jay, so nakita ko na ang rason kung abi ka dito mo. Daw. Tapos na. Nasabat na ni Jay. One more na lang, si Ma'am Russell.
Hi, good morning to all. I am here, hindi lang po para isang researcher, IT po ako, isa po Iranian Bukidnon. Ang concern ko lang is, kasi specialized ako, I am a language teacher. Language and culture is inseparable. Hindi natin yan mahiwalay. Unang-una, nung nakita ko yung invitation actually ng Sri Visayas, ang nakuha ng pansin ko is the pakopya na symbol in that Bukidnon and in Tumanda.
Stories, share stories lang, and not to answer particular ganyan questions. So, because of that, I've noticed their views on justice, social justice, So, in terms of the family feuds, they would say nga, well, it's because amo niyang panulukan nga, kumbaga in our context, we could consider it as an eye for an eye. So, I think those are one of the things nga na misunderstood sa mga lowlanders nga Akyanon, especially mga Kalipulhon. That's why they would always refer to the Bacaonons as mga Bukid, because prevalent ang mga family feuds dito. And they would always say this phrase na kinayag na to talibong kundi gabo. Meaning to say na the talibong gets sick if it cannot hack or kill. So that's a discriminatory remark given to the Akyan Bukidnon. Pero if you look at their society or their culture and view it from their own perspective, you will understand kung nga na ilang actions. So, for example, the water sources, mga streams, they're very important sa life. So if one family or one clan establishes themselves in that kind of area, it deprives other clans of water resources, or other cases like stealing cattle, or kung daw may sala in the marriage, something like that. So those are one of the examples now of or the roots of their family feuds among Akyan and Bukidnon. So another example of the differences in perspectives is the lowlanders' perception of progress and development, and kung ano man ang perceptions ng hinterlands. So, for example, ang interview ko ng Tanod in Taroytoy, Manika, very grabe ng iyang wisdom when we explain ay sir, sorry lang, ay awa kami ka tsinelas, wala kami ka tsinelas. It's because it's very cool ang ground or ang earth. And however, kung magtugbong kami sa Banwa, they laugh at us because we don't have sleepers. And we don't like it there because it hurts our feet. Nakapasok sila because of the paved roads. So, ang ilang perception of having a prosperous or contented life, lain man sa aton. So, yes, very correct din sila Dr. Marcos and Ma'am Rara to say na researchers should be mindful of those differences in perceptions in their line of work. So, kami as younger researchers, so we should be mindful nga among personal perceptions and sentiments will not overturn or overshadow ang perceptions ng subject or sa indigenous people. Okay, so manantoy sa first two na questions and ipasa ko. Thank you, Gito.
let me say first, dahil Libby, get me straight, Libby, I admire what you have done. Kanami, salang lalaki ang makimos na. You have the passion. And I admire you, look, bilang ako, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's not only Lucky 7, but it's group which has the passion. Yes, it's you know, it's in the heart. It's in the heart. So, ang iba siguro ng mga teenagers like you, gusto naman sa o pag-date-date o ano, inyo nga duty, sa responsibility ninyo na pagatunan, pag-intindi mo, understand the life ways of the IPs, so that the IPs themselves will not be ashamed of what they are. Because let me tell you, Sinong Pedring became the Gamapa Award for the year 1920, 1921, school year, no? And when I asked him, no, wala kayo padayo kayo ng mga Sudano, no, kayo ng economics. I imagine ang barang kami katagaman.
Pakilala ko na I'm Peter James Bantanag. Currently, I'm the academic supervisor of the Fine Arts program since 2016. So, I just want to clarify two things, sort of like pwede mo matungan. Sa duwa, the artists who are practicing or joining the research group or the field researchers, and at the same time the organizers and the researchers at the same time. So ako, I'm coming from the artist perspective. No? That's why I really thank Sir for pointing out that I guess the answers, a lot of answers sa mga question kanina is answered na magaan sa conference, pag sa festival, exhibition, even the exhibition itself. No, I remember Pee-wee talking about cultural appropriation last night, no, and then even ang pag statement niya, let's view all of this, no, as one installation. No, I think ang daming issues na na-resolve na niya. No, artists are not competing to each other. Like it's the whole thing is, you know, joining to one purpose. I guess, right? How many purposes we have? Ganun pa lang eh. Sa ganung idea pa lang ang dami ng issues na nare-resolve, no? In terms of perspectives and sustainability, no? I wish, no, I don't parachute lang, no, sa ganitong or sa ginawa ko. I wish that long-lasting at saka progressive at saka sustainable din yung gagawin ko in the future. No? And I'm happy to be with this team. You know? And actually, kanina, I specified that I'm really happy that research-based practice start nagdiri sa Rojas. You know, so I'm TV with that. You know? Okay, this is my first time to join a curated curatorial process as an artist na ginbayaran. To tell you, may budget kami. So for that aspect, no, it is really important. Tingnan natin yung kabuuan ng project. No? Meron siyang exhibition, meron siyang art exhibition. Tingnan natin yung yung mga artwork. Yeah, I guess I need to invite kasi most of us here, I guess, hindi pa nakita yung exhibition. Yeah, a Western, I guess, concept. And to know that three garangan weavers or embroiders ang Arab dito, no? is a big is a big thing, no? And we are actually presenting this idea that they are part of this. We're not looking at them at, di ba? And isa yan. I want to talk about my work. No? I invite you to examine it again. The work is made of birha, so it is, it's a structure, it's installation made of bamboo. Pero the thing that makes it interesting is, and I'm happy that in the long run, after so many changes, it went back to Panoply Museum, or it went to Panoply Museum.
I will try to answer the both. So, mamaya, to make it short, we don't ask scientific questions in our fieldwork. Rest assured, we don't ask scientific questions. So, kay Ma'am Palmer, I'm assuming you refer to dito. Okay, can I answer bluntly? Correct me if I'm wrong. So basically, we have no strict ethnographic or ethnographic rules. So basically, we were trying to be, to represent the sound as closely as possible to how they say it in the mountains. Kasi yung iba Ma'am Magos ay mga, they follow Dr. Romano with the Gabao Dongbon, for example. They use O for all of the letters. Yung O. She did not. She did not.
I never ever followed Dr. Romano. Why? Because he was able to get another version and a very short one. I'm sorry to say this, but we have 10 epics in 14 book volumes. In 14 so far. This is the longest in the world today.
Sorry, I need the spelling for the character names. The convention for the spelling. Yung Labao Dongbon, yung O lang.
Labao, L-A-B-A.
Book, and we want to have a book that is full of confusion and misdeclarations and wrong citations, etc., etc. So I talk very fast because lunch is being served. So now let's call this session over for the morning. One sentence from Ma'am Alice. Okay.
Perfect, ma'am.
Perfect yan, madam. Dito pa tayo.
Walang mga price.
Wala man nakabaligya sila. Kasama ko. Ay, sila ay. Apology, may ganyan.
Again, it's been wonderful learning about all of this. As you heard, my background is really in contemporary art and museum work. So forgive me if my moderating will go along those lines. But I'd love to hear from other perspectives, the other experts here. My task today is to moderate the talks for this afternoon. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our first speaker,